Welcome back, everybody, to the KC Sports Report. I'm your host, Michael Darcy, and today I'm going to break down if the Kansas City Chiefs need to make a big-time trade for a wide receiver before the NFL trade deadline. So, Chiefs Kingdom, I'm sure that most of you saw the news. Hollywood Brown has been placed on IR by the Chiefs. He's going to have surgery to repair his SC joint, and he's going to basically miss most of the 2024 season. The earliest that I saw that he could return would be December, but from all the reports that, the doctors are saying that since he's just having surgery this week and the rehab that this injury is going to take, he's more than likely going to be out the entire 2024 season. I would be very shocked if he comes back in December. And if he does come back at all, I think he probably comes back at the beginning of the postseason. So the Chiefs are out their number one wide receiver, and that could be a big issue. So could the Chiefs be in the market for a wide receiver one, or at least another wide receiver that could bring this offense to another level? Now, I think that's a good question, because if the Chiefs were not in this position, I don't think that they would be in the market for some of the names that we're going to talk about in this video. But since Hollywood Brown got injured, and since he's not going to be here, for the majority of the season at least, we seriously have to talk about the Chiefs going out and trading for somebody to give back some of the production that Hollywood Brown would have given you. So I'm going to discuss a couple names that I think could be options for Brett Veach and the Chiefs front office to trade for. The first guy that we're going to talk about is Titans wide receiver Treylon Burks. Now, Treylon Burks is a very interesting candidate. He's a big body wide receiver that really never lived up to his potential in Tennessee. He was a first-round draft pick a couple years ago, and throughout his entire career, he only has 50 receptions for 667 yards and 2 touchdowns, which really isn't that good. Actually, he only has 1 career touchdown coming in his rookie season, so very similar to Sky Moore. But what I do think is interesting about this is that he might be a bigger body wide receiver that could explode in this Chiefs offense with Patrick Mahomes throwing him the football. In one game in 2024, Burks got 1 catch for 2 yards, and the Titans offense just did not utilize him properly. And so that's why I think that Tennessee would move on from him, and the Chiefs might be a good new home for Burks, and maybe they can try to get some of the potential that saw him get drafted in the first round, get that out of him. If anybody can make a wide receiver flash, it's Andy Reid in this Chiefs offense. I mean, we've seen it happen time and time again. And last year, the Chiefs offense was good enough to win a Super Bowl with MVS, Kadarius Toney, and Sky Moore. I think that Treylon Burks offers something in terms of raw talent. And maybe he's a guy that, gets traded for a 6th or a 7th round draft pick. I think that's probably what he would end up going for. And maybe he's a good sleeper for what this offense could do in 2024. So Treylon Burks of the Tennessee Titans might be a guy to really watch closely. I'm not super duper high on him, but I'm just mentioning that he could be an option if the Chiefs are just trying to get anybody to replace, Hollywood Brown. I think that Treylon Burks, even though he's not the most established wide receiver in the game, he's a step up from Justin Ross. So from that standpoint, I'd be happy with the Chiefs taking a flyer on Treylon Burks. Now, the second player I think is my favorite player and the player that I think could make the biggest impact on this offense, and that is Texans wide receiver Robert Woods. Robert Woods has been one of the more consistent wide receivers in the league. He's now a veteran, and he went to Houston with the intention of making a big impact on this offense, but the Texans are stacked. They got Nico Collins. They traded for Stephon Diggs. They've got Tank Dell. And so Woods is basically just a depth piece now. And so he's not even really going to get the, receptions that he could get in this offense. And he's also 32 years old, so he's getting older. And I could see the Texans trying to move off of Woods and getting something in return. The biggest problem that I see is that the Texans have Super Bowl aspirations, and so it might not make sense for them to trade to arguably their biggest rival in the conference, and that's the Chiefs. So would the Texans move on from a guy that would help the Chiefs offense? The Buffalo Bills have been famous for trading with the Chiefs during the draft, but we've seen in free agency periods that teams are less likely to trade with the Chiefs because they are so good. And so who knows if the Texans would even consider trading Robert Woods to the Kansas City Chiefs. But if they were able to pull this off, I think it could be really good. I mean, last year with the Texans, he appeared in 14 games. He only started 11 games, but he caught 40 passes for 426 yards and a touchdown. And so while he didn't have the stats that he's had, earlier on in his career, he's definitely a guy that could give you 400 to 500 yards, and that is a big chunk of production for an offense that lost an 800 to 1,000 yard wide receiver in Hollywood Brown. And if the Texans did move him, they would save $6.5 million in cap space. So it might make sense for the Texans to get rid of him, but at the same time, I'm not sure if the Chiefs are really looking to add somebody as experienced, I guess as old as Robert Woods, but I do think that Robert Woods would make the most sense for the Chiefs in this offense. Now, the final guy on my list is Giants receiver Darius Slayton. Darius Slayton is a very interesting candidate because I really don't think that the Giants are going to be that good this year. Daniel Jones has been a very odd quarterback to watch so far, but I don't think the Giants are doing anything substantial this season, and so he could be a guy that gets shopped before the trade deadline. And he did play 72% of the offensive snaps last week, but he only finished with 3 receptions for 26 yards. So it is very early on, and he has struggled in his career. But, last year, or I guess in 4 of his 5 seasons, he's had more than 700 yards. And so this could be a guy that the Chiefs take a flyer on. It might require, I want to say like a 4th or a 5th round draft pick just because they do have a lot invested in him in New York. But at the same time, if the Chiefs are serious about going out to find somebody to replace Hollywood Brown, at least for the time being, a trade might make sense. But Chiefs Kingdom, let me know down in the comments below what you guys think. Do you think the Chiefs must make a trade for a wide receiver? Or are you confident with the guys that they currently have in that room? I think Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy are good, but I don't think that we truly understand what Hollywood Brown would have brought to this offense. And so not having him means that the Chiefs aren't going to have somebody that they depended heavily on for production this year. And so from that standpoint, it might make sense for Brett Veach to get on the phone to bring somebody else new into Kansas City. So again, Chiefs Kingdom, let me know what you guys think. Do you think the Chiefs need a wide receiver, or are you confident with Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy, and maybe they elevate Justin Ross? And so if that's the option that they go with, I'm not sure how I would feel, but it could also be, what Brett Veach is planning. But I'm really curious to hear your thoughts down in the comments below. Like this video if you haven't already. Let me know if I was right. Did the Chiefs, did the Chiefs consider any of these guys for potential trade targets, or who else do you think the Chiefs might target? I would love to hear what you guys think. So until next time, guys, thank you for watching this video. Go check me out on my social media platforms, KC_Sports Report on both Instagram and TikTok, at KC Sports Report on Twitter. Obviously, subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Share this video with your friends. We are going to be here all season long, breaking down the news and giving you some of the best Chiefs content on YouTube. Until next time, guys, thank you for watching this video, and go Chiefs.